Hello, students! How are you today? I hope you guys feeling very well because today in this video, I would like to introduce you about something that really interesting in English, especially in English subject. But before that, I will open this presentation with Panganjali Umat Om Swastiastu. So guys, what is the interesting topic that we will learn for today? The interesting topic is Hortatory Exposition text by me, Miss Dita. Hello guys, I'm Miss Dita. First thing first, do you guys ever heard about hortatory exposition text? If you guys have heard about that, I think you can answer this question. What is hortatory exposition text? You can pause this video and then you can type in the chat box down below about the first question. Okay? But first, I will tell you what hortatory exposition text. So this text is a text that functions to influence the reader or listener to do or not to do something. So in this text, we just focus to influence. Influence. So influence means in Indonesian language is mengajak, mempengaruhi. Mempengaruhi who? The reader or listener to what? To do or not to do something. Great job. So in hortatory exposition text, there are two forms that appear. First is spoken form. Second is the written form. What does that mean, Miss? That means in hortatory exposition text, you will find the spoken one and then the written one. For the spoken one, for example, you guys have ever attended campaign before when someone speak to the public and ask them to support a program or change their behavior, which means that the person standing in front of the bunch of the people and then they will stand um, back to the podium while holding their microphone, and then they will spread all the beneficial that the people will get after the person become maybe like they will become to the president, and the people will get the opportunity, will get the beneficial for that. So that's for the spoken one. They speak directly to influence the listener to do something about what they are already. For the written one, do you guys still remember about the COVID-19? Yes, that changed us a lot, right? So for the written one, for example, like I said before, the COVID-19 one, what's the related to the hortatory exposition text? Because there's a lot of articles that talking about the COVID-19. When you guys jump to the Google and then you type Google Scholar and then you into the Google Scholar and then just type about the COVID-19. A lot of article, maybe like the um more than 100 article talking about the COVID-19. And in the article, the writer will be tell people to wear a mask, to wash their hands, and then keep the distancing, like a social distancing. like stay home, not in public, kind of like that. They influence the reader to do or not to do something. So, what is the hortatory exposition text, students? Hortatory exposition text is a text that functions to influence the reader or listener to do or not to do something. Okay, do you get it, guys? The reader one for the written form, the listener for the spoken form. The reader, which means that you read the article from the writer, from the author, and then the listener, you will listen directly to the person who spoke directly about something to do or not to do something. Okay, next. What is the function of hortatory exposition text? I already mentioned it before, right? But I will hear from you. So, if you guys have any opinion uh, about the function of hortatory exposition text, you may raise your hand. Okay, the function is to persuade the reader or listener that something should or should not be the case. It's kind of like it's kind of like the same from the previous one, to persuade, to influence the reader or listener that something should or should not be in the case, which means that the listener or or the reader persuade to do or not to do something, right? It's kind of like they agree or disagree with the writer ideas for to do something that the writer suggests. Okay, I still want to hear from your opinion about the purpose of the rotatory exposition text. Next, okay, we're moving on to the generic structure of rotatory exposition text. In your opinion again, what are the generic structure of hortatory exposition text? Okay, the generic structure in hortatory exposition text are three generic structures. For the first one is thesis, the second one is argument, and the third one is recommendation. For the first one is thesis. What is thesis, guys? What is thesis? Thesis. So this is where the writer tell the main idea or opinion. So, di mana letak tesis ini? Thesis is a part of opening. So, the you will find the thesis one only in the first paragraph of the article, because thesis is always in the first paragraph of the hortatory exposition text. When we talk about the thesis one, which means that the reader wants to the idea about what will you um what will you introduce after in your article. For example, people should reduce the use plastic bag. That the thesis one. The idea is reduce the use of plastic bag. Okay, the second one is arguments. Arguments. So this is part you are putting all of your arguments after the thesis one. Like this is part gives a several reason and fact that support the idea in the thesis one. For example, plastic causes um, pollution, harm animals in the ocean, kind of like that. In the arguments, arguments is consists of maybe like a 5 paragraphs in short, or you can add more than 5 paragraphs because article is more than 5 paragraphs, right? There are consists of many pages, maybe like a 12 pages or something. So that is the argument ones. Argument ones, it comes after the thesis. The last one is the recommendation. So recommendation, which means that after you are writing the idea, the thesis one, and then you are putting the arguments to support your idea in the thesis. After you are giving the arguments to the reader or the listener about to do or not to do something, and after that, the last sentence, the last paragraph, you put the recommendation one, which means that you are provide the last part where the writer give advice or suggestion to the reader. So that is the recommendation. Apa recommendation? Menurut recommendation letaknya ada di akhir. Iya, ada di akhir paragraph. The last paragraph in the Hortatory Exposition text called recommendation. So, like I said before, in the last paragraph, you are supposed to put the recommendation, the recommend, give an advice, and give a suggestion for the reader. For example, therefore, we should bring our tumbler. We should bring our shopping bags. We should bring our lunchbox to the school, maybe kind of like that. Do you guys get it? So the first in the hortatory exposition text, there is three generic structure. For number one is thesis. Thesis is a first part of the paragraph of this text that talk about the ideas. Number two is arguments. Arguments is coming after the thesis, which means that um, start in the second paragraph, which is the argument. It consists of a lot of paragraphs, and you can find it easily because after this, I will provide you how we can know which one is thesis, which one is argument, and which one is recommendation. So back to the generic structure. Thesis and arguments. Argument it consists of 5 or more paragraphs to support the thesis one, to support the idea of the thesis. And the last one is recommendation and also the last paragraph of the hortatory exposition text that talk about the suggestion and the advice from the writer to the reader. For example, like I said before, there will be um, there will be a word to identify. You can identify it correctly. Like therefore, we should bring our own plastic bag when we are going to the shopping. Kind of like that. Okay, let's roll it again. Thesis, the idea, arguments to support the ideas, recommendation is the last paragraph to give recommendation, to give what is called advice, to give suggestion. Good job. Next. Now, what are the language feature of hortatory exposition? Do you know what is the language feature of the hortatory exposition text? Okay, the language features in hortatory exposition text is I provide to you five. language features. For the first one is using simple present tense. So, why we are using simple present tense in hortatory exposition text? Why? Because simple present tense is talk about a fact, a habit, right? Karena simple present tense itu membicarakan tentang fakta, tentang kebiasaan, lalu tentang apa lagi? Tentang apa lagi? Murid-murid. Tentang kebiasaan, tentang fakta umum, lalu tentang sesuatu yang pasti terjadi. Seperti itu. Betul? Iya, itu fakta. Berarti sesuatu yang memang benar-benar terjadi dan tidak dibuat-buat. Nah, dalam hortatory exposition text, we using simple present tense because we actually giving them a fact, the fakta, right? So we are, this is not kind of like a narrative text that we using our, um, our blowing mind to write to write a story because we actually or influence the people to do or not to do something, which means that the thing that they have to do based on a fact. For example, like I mentioned the first slide, like the COVID-19, it's really happened, right? It's really happened, and then the writer one bring it up again, which means they are not making up because the COVID-19 it's actually happened. So, in the hortatory exposition text, we're using the simple present tense because there is no opinion in this text. That's all talk about a fact. Next is modality. What is modality? Apa itu modality? Modality is consists like a should, must, has, ought to, something like that. And the third one is connectors. Connectors or conjunction. This is like a because, therefore, thus. What again? However, moreover, that's a connector. Connector, which means that you are connect the previous paragraph to the next paragraph, which means that the paragraph is it's not stop in the middle, but it's continue, continue, and continue. Next is evaluative words. What is evaluative words? So evaluative words is to show opinion. It's your opinion. And the last is the mental verb. Mental verb, which means that you using like this. I believe. And then I believe. Yes, kind of like I believe. And then in my opinion, it is better to like that. So in the hortatory exposition text, you will find a language feature that consists of simple present tense, modality, connector, evaluative words, mental verbs. Until this point, do you have any question, guys? No? Oh, yes. Okay. Next slide is what are signatures of hortatory exposition text? What is the signature one? Do you know signature is not only about the sign. So here's the example. When you are going to the when you guys going to the cafe or to the coffee shop, and you will ask the writer to the to the waiters, and you ask about what is the signatures of this from this cafe, and that will be and the waitress will be explain what is the signature about their place. So in this Hortatory Exposition text, it also have a signature. So the signatures in the Hortatory Exposition text is it contains a logical argument, not a story, like I said before. And the second one, there is a suggestion or recommendation at the end. And the third one, the text is focuses on the single topic. So the single topic, which means that you only talk about one topic. Like I said before, the written one, when you talk about the COVID-19, you only talk about the COVID-19. No talk about the other topic. Only focus on the COVID-19. Okay? Next. Oh, okay. I provide to you the example of the hortatory exposition text. So the title of this hortatory exposition text is Students Should Not Use Phones Used During Class. I'll give you 10 minutes to analyze this text, but 10 minutes it's um way too long, right? Way too long. So uh we'll be discussing together. First, do you still remember what is the first paragraph of our tutorial exposition text called? It's called start with letter T. It's called thesis. Good job. Thesis. So in this first paragraph, the writer, which means the writer is me, is provide the first paragraph. Many students bring their phones to school. Phones are useful, but using them during class can disrupt the learning process. Which means that I am not agree. Student bring the phone while the learning process, while in the class. So the first paragraph it shows the thesis of phone in the school, right? The idea of this text is phone during learning process. Next, after the thesis one, do you still remember the next paragraph after the thesis one? It's called what, guys? It's called ar arguments. So, in this argument, I provide to you the three paragraphs, first, second, and third. So, if you guys want to identify hortatory exposition text in the argument one, that will be start from the word first, second, third, firstly, secondly, thirdly, and so on. When you guys find this after the thesis one, which means that you are already jumped to the argument one, because in the argument one, it consists of the linked feature that show you about this word. First, second, third, which means, do you still remember what is the function of the argument one? To provide the idea of the text of the thesis. So In this paragraph, in the first argument, I put first, phones make students lose focus. Instead of listening to the teacher, they may open social media or play games. This is the first reason why I am not agree, like I am disagree. Phones are allowed to um, during the learning process because first, phone makes students lose focus. The second one, phone can disrupt other students. When one student use a phone, other may get distracted and cannot pay attention, which mean after the first student lost focus, and then the second one is phone can disrupt other students. It's not only about yourself, it's talk about the other students one. Maybe the other student want to um pay a lot of attention in the class, but they see one friend using their phones and then playing games in their phones, which means that they attract the other students to joining them to play with their phones, which means they get distracted and they cannot pay attention to the teacher. That is the second reason about I disagree about phone are not allowed during the learning process. The third one, why I am not agree, why I disagree about um, the use phone during class is too much phone use in class reduce respect for the teacher. The teachers prepare lessons, but students do not listen because they are busy with their phones. The third one, I provide about the reason why uh, why students should not use phone during class. Because the last in the argument one, teacher prepare lesson, but the students do not listen because they only pay attention to their phones, which means that the you are not paying attention to the teacher. It's will be lack of respect for the teacher. And the last one, I provide the recommendation. So after the thesis, after the argument, the last part is the recommend recommendation. Recommendation is placed the bottom one. The first is thesis. The is second is the argument, and the last one is the recommendation. So you will be easy find the recommendation. Uh, you will easily find a recommendation because in this paragraph you will find the word therefore, moreover, like that. And then the writer will put the recommendation for their idea, their argument about students should not use phones during class. So the paragraph called students should keep their phone in their bags during lessons. They can use their phones after school or during break time, but not when the what guys? When the learning process. Okay, that's really simple, right? Yeah, that is about the generic structure. We are continue to identify the language feature. So the first thing first, do you still remember what is the first point of the language feature in Hortatory Exposition text? Using simple present, using simple present tense. Yes. Which one? Which one sentence is um is what's called? It's show, the simple present one. You guys have the homework to identify the language feature, okay? So first you have to find which one is the part of the simple present. And the last is modality. Modality, you still remember about must, can, ought to, have to? Okay, let's find the modality one. The modality one can. Yeah, good job. Can. What else? Do you find anything else? Sure. Okay, good job. Next is using a connector like a because, therefore, those, however. Can you guys find it? Where the because one? Because, because. You see it, guys? Okay, that's also your homework to find it. Next is um evaluative words. Is there any evaluative word in here? That's also your homework. Okay, your homework is to identify the language feature of this Hortatory Exposition text. Next. Oh, that's all. That's all. Okay, let's conclude today's lesson. So the first one, we are learning about about what guys? About the definition, about the purpose, about the generic structure, about the language feature, and about the signature. Okay, the definition of a totalic position text is a text that functions to influence, to attract the reader or listener to do or not to do something. And then the function. Function is to influence that already mentioned that before, to influence the reader or listener to do or not to do something. So in hortatory exposition text, uh, you will find two forms, spoken and written. Good job. The next is um, generic structure. The generic structure of hortatory exposition text is provided with three. Good. Three types. First, thesis. Thesis is the first paragraph of the text. You put the idea on the thesis one. And the second one is argument. Yeah, argument, which means that you are putting a many paragraph in the argument one to support your idea of the thesis. The last one is recommend. The share recommendation it consists of um your your recommendation after you are giving the idea, after you giving the argument, and then the last one is your use. You are giving the reader about the recommend recommendation. You give an advice. You give a suggestion about the idea. Okay. So next is about we are talking about the generic structure. We talk about what guys? About the language feature. Okay, the language feature is consists of five, which mean the first one is simple present tense, the second one is using modality, the third one is using connector or conjunction, the fourth one is using evaluative word, and the last one is using a mental word. Okay. And uh what else? Do you still remember? I think one left. What is that? Okay, the signature one. Signature is three. First is not opinion. Two is giving recommendation. And the third one is is what, guys? So remember? Oh, we should go back. Okay, we should go back, yeah? Yeah, this one, it's using a single topic. Okay, that's all about my presentation for today. I hope you guys enjoy this presentation. And if you guys want me to make this video again like this, just comment it down below. And see you in another lesson. Bye bye. Have a great day.